How about those Devils? How about those Devils?
What? Wait, what was that?
How about those Devils? How about those Devils?
How about those Devils? Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And folks, it's been a very long, what has it been? About 30 or so hours since the news broke. Superstar center franchise player Jack Hughes injured in what is one of the most bizarre stories in quite some time. Team dinner. We see photos the night before Frank the Tank at Chicago Cut, a Chicago steakhouse. And then the news breaks that Jack Hughes is going to miss the game tonight and that he suffered some sort of cut or laceration to his hand. Wild story. The internets go wild with speculation, rumors, people, pretending they have PhDs and giving us the diagnosis, people talking about when their Uncle Susie cut her finger off, barbecuing. All these crazy things are coming out. And then today we find the bad news. Jack Hughes is in fact out for 8 weeks. Absolutely devastating. Everyone knows the importance of Jack Hughes to this team. The poor kid has had his career riddled with injuries thus far, all of them coming on the ice during games, playing the sport of hockey. This one happens at a team dinner at a restaurant. Super bizarre. The story's changed a couple times. Originally, people think he doesn't know how to cut his steak and he cuts his hand off. Then we hear he was leaning on a glass. Then another story comes out that he slipped and fell on cut glass. Either way, at this point, I don't even care. Had a surgery today in New York. He's out for 8 weeks, and the New Jersey Devils return to the ice tonight in Washington, D.C., taking on Alexander Ovechkin and the Capitals without superstar Jack Hughes. And what do the boys do? Oh, the boys go out there, and they get it done. Not the prettiest again, scary at times. Go up 2-0, give it away in the third, dominate the overtime session, tons of chances, and found a way to win. And that way to win comes via Nemec, once again the hero in the shootout. So much to get to, so much to talk about in this one, but the Devils win on the road 3-2 in the shootout. No Jack Hughes, no problem. I must ask, I must know.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? For all the doubters and the doomers and all the people, season's over. Get off the wagon now or buckle up. You're with us or against us. This team is a different team. I've been saying it since the summer, and I really started to believe it even more so after the first couple of weeks. You do not rip off an 8-game winning streak by accident against the teams that we did it against. This team is different. Sheldon Keefe has these guys firing on nearly all cylinders, winning ugly on some nights, winning beautiful on some nights, and some games a little bit of in between. But either way, this team finds ways to win, and it's been beautiful. But cheers to all of you for coming out on this Saturday night. A beautiful victory. Win or lose, we booze. I'm going with more Surfsides. I've been crushing these things lately. Surfside, this is the lemonade and vodka. Cheers to all you guys. Win or lose, we booze. When it hits your lips, because you all know victory drinks taste so much better than loser beverages. And tonight we are all sipping on victory drinks, my friend. And that is courtesy of our Slovakian friend, the 21-year-old defenseman, NEMO, baby. Shimon Nemec. What a story the season has been for this kid. We'll get to NEMO and get to all. There's so much to get to, but we just start off with the goals. Devils buzzing a little bit early on. We saw some new line combinations. Obviously, without Jack Hughes, we saw a little bit of a shakeup, keeping the top line, or the new top line, I should say, together of nicohischier, Timo Meier, Jesper Bratt, leaving us with a second line of arsenygritsyuk, Paul Cotter, and Dawson Mercer shifted back to center because our center depth is not great. But we see some early power plays, Devils buzzing, Dawson Mercer embellishing a little bit, I have to say. I have to call a spade in the interest of being fair And calling it as I see it, our boy Dawson-Mercer tonight was selling it a little bit. I think on both of those calls in the first period. The first one was a wild embellishment, in my opinion. But, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And Dawson-Mercer may have a career in Hollywood. He certainly sold both of those penalties. And on the power play, what can we say about our boy Grits? He gets in position, locked and loaded. Luke Hughes gets him the puck, and Grits just fires an absolute cannon blast of a shot right past Thompson into the back of the net. Pumped for Grits. Love that shot. Would love to see Grits get more opportunities on this club, obviously, especially on the power play. I think when you have a shot like that, and it's the same reason why I've always wanted Timo on power play one as well. When you could get off a shot quickly like that and get it on net, the sky's the limit. But Grits gets his fourth at 5:05, assisted by Luke Hughes and Paulie Cotter. Big moment for Paulie Cotter, obviously getting some top 6 minutes here tonight. Later on in the period, scary moment indeed. Bratter behind, deep in the ozone. Ovechkin absolutely crushes him. Alexander Ovechkin delivers a absolutely punishing hit. And for a minute, it looked like that Bratter was potentially hurt. It seemed like Bratter was possibly hurt. He was down for a minute. Play continues. Luke gets the puck. He's dancing the line, and Luke finally fires one through traffic into the back of the net. Beautiful, beautiful shot. I missed my thing here. But you got to talk about, he didn't even celebrate. He didn't even celebrate at all. He literally was like, he was cursing. He was cursing out loud. You could read his lips. And it was a scary moment. He thought Bratter was hurt. But at 17:46,
he's long, strong, and down to get the defense on. Lucas Hughes.
Lucas Hughes finally gets his first of the season from Brendan Dillon and the Bratter, the fallen Bratter, giving the Devils a 2-0 lead. That is how the first period would end, and I was feeling pretty good at that point. 2-0 lead. Obviously, want to score first, play with the lead. We're down a million players. We have, eight or so AHL players in the lineup. Obviously not ideal, but you got to rally. No excuses here. Next man up. Get it done. Devils up 2-0 after one. We go to the second. Some chances for both teams in the second. Devils couldn't get another one. I really wanted to get that 3-0 lead. Scoreless second period. We head to the third, and the Caps came out on fire. Really took it to the Devils. Devils were kind of sleeping through a lot of it, and I thought at one point they could potentially blow the game because they just didn't look hungry enough. But a minute in, Connor McMichael gets one assisted by Ovechkin, and Chychrun cuts it to 2-1. And then after that goal, they really started pouring it on. I was waiting for the game-tying goal from the Caps, and it didn't take that long. At 8:29, Ovechkin gets his 902nd career goal. I mean, the fact that this guy is still getting it done at this level, at this age, is just absolutely remarkable. It wasn't the greatest goal either. I thought, Jake Allen could have and should have probably had that one. But at 8:29, Ovechkin gets his 5th of the season from McMichael and Strome, ties it up at 2. And at that point, I was a little nauseated. Then my mind quickly shifted to just preserve the point. Just make sure you get the point, because to leave this city of DC pointless after being up 2-0 after 2 would have been gut-wrenching. It was like, get the point and then hope we win in overtime or the shootout. We go to overtime, tied up at 2. Devils dominating the overtime. Tons of chances. I forget who had the initial shot. It was either Timo or Nico. Had a great blast. Juicy rebound comes flying out to the slot, and Nemec had an amazing chance that was robbed. The save of the game for sure. And then on the next trip down the ice, Jake Allen made a crazy one, I think off his mask. Great save by Allen. I thought Allen was super sharp tonight. If I'm being honest, completely honest, you guys know I love Markey, but at the moment right now, I do feel much more calm and relaxed during games when Jake Allen is in net. For whatever reason, I don't know if he has that effect on the team or if it's maybe just the fans, but it just feels a lot safer with Jake Allen in net right now. And you guys all know, listen, I love every guy on this team. and I'm a huge Markey guy, but I do think I would go right back to Allen the next game. I'll circle back on goalies. I'm sure you guys will be talking about it, but I would definitely start Jake Allen in Tampa and then maybe give Markey the Florida game. But Allen, another gem of an outing tonight. Big saves for him in that overtime, and Thompson played his ass off as well. The Devils could have won that a few times in overtime. No goals in OT. We get to the shootout, and also I'd be remiss. Do not let me forget. Shout out to Luke Glendening, face-off monster in the overtime session. I think he won like maybe 3 big draws. And was able to get off the, offensive zone draws, was able to get off the ice right away and get Nico or whoever it was that came out in his place. But monster performance for Glendening in that overtime session in the circle. But no goals in the overtime. We go to the shootout. The Capitals elect to go first, and Strome comes in and beats Jake Allen, giving the Caps the 1-0 lead in the shootout, putting the pressure on the Devils. And Devils shootout wizard Paulie Cotter comes in, who's been sensational in the shootouts, as we all know. Cotter gets stoned. He tries to try a new move, and I guess he thought that Thompson might have been anticipating another deke and him getting in tight. He tries to go stick side and fires one. He gets a piece of it with the blocker, I believe. Capitals up 1-0 through the first frame of the shootout. Anthony Bolivier comes in. Jake Allen stones him. Then the Devils' second shooter is Jesper Bratt, comes in with a chance to tie it, and Bratter puts on one of the filthiest shootout moves, roofs it on the backhand. The puck was already coming out of the net by the time Thompson had any idea what happened. Jesper Bratt now has scored in his last 2 shootout attempts tonight and last week against the Penguins. Filthy. The Bratter had some amazing plays throughout this game as well. There was one, I think, in the first where he did like a stutter step and just absolutely made, I think it was Chychrun, look foolish on defense. He just I don't even know how to describe it. He jammed on the brakes and did like a stutter step kind of off speed thing and then just cooked them. Got a great scoring chance out of it and didn't bury it. But Jesper Bratt with another strong performance ties the shootout up at 1 apiece through 2 frames. We go to the third. Connor McMichael comes in, gets stoned by Jake Allen. And then I thought our boy Grits, who, by the way, I wanted to see in overtime. I was calling for Grits in OT. And especially on that last O-zone draw in overtime, I think it was like 5 seconds left or so. I for the life of me, can't understand why Sheldon Keefe did not have Grits out in that scenario. I think you always want a guy with a cannon blast of a shot. You win the draw and make a pass and just try to get off, a perimeter shot. I thought Grits should have definitely been out at that point. I definitely wanted to see him much earlier in the overtime, but I definitely thought that with that 5 seconds left, he definitely should have been out there, but it wasn't in the cards. But he does come up as the third shooter with the chance to end the game, and Grits gets stoned, unfortunately. And then after that, now it's the Caps' turn again. The all-time leading goal scorer in league history, Alexander Ovechkin, comes in. He kind of freezes Allen. Allen goes down, but Ovi didn't get off the best shot. Allen stones him, setting the table for the young Slovakian defenseman Simon Nemec to send the boys home with another 2 points. Nemo comes down the wing, throws a couple moves, and beats Thompson for an absolutely beautiful goal. And Simon Nemec, guys, I mean, what can we say about our boy Nemo? He is emerging as an absolute monster before our eyes. Anyone who has talked silly about this man or made the stupid comments, you already know what time it is, guys. Deposit your apologies in the comments. Nemo has been, over the last year or so, the recipient of a lot of baloney and nonsense from the peanut gallery out here on the World Wide Web. And it's okay. We will accept you back, but deposit those apologies in the comments because Simon Nemec, the emergence of Simon Nemec is happening before our very eyes. Obviously ties up the Islander game with 5 seconds left with the Devils have the empty net extra attacker. Nemo ties it up to force the overtime, which unfortunately the Devils lost, but that was a point we would have never got without Nemo. Obviously, on the road in Chicago before Cut Gate or Chicago Cut Night, whatever you want to refer to it as. The night before, Nemo with an overtime hat trick to win that one. And then tonight, he sends us home with another 2 points in a shootout. Beautiful shootout move and gets the win. I mean, you got to love it. You got to love it. This team, guys, they're different. I've been telling you. Everyone panicking with all their injuries. Jack Hughes is out. Season's over. Nothing is over. This team is different. We are going on a ride this year, guys. Get ready for it. get ready for it. We go to the game stats. Devils 31 shots on goal. Capitals with 33. Devils 51.7% in the faceoff circle to the Caps 48.3%. Devils not too shabby. 1 for 3 on the power play. I'll take that. Caps go 0 for 1 on the power play. Devils 13 hits. We got to get that up. Heavier, edgier, more violent. That at 13 hits is not going to cut it. Caps doubled us up in the hits department with 26. 21 block shots, though, encouraging. Devils eating that rubber. 21 block shots for the Devils, 13 for the Caps. Devils with 17 giveaways. Caps with 11 giveaways. Devils with 4 takeaways. And the Caps with 8 takeaways. And obviously the 3 stars of the game. The third star from the Devils with a goal and an assist. Number 43, Lukehughes. The second star from Washington, Logan Thompson. And the first star from the Devils, number 34, Jake the Snake Allen. What a game for our boy Jake Allen. He has been solid all season long, getting it done. And what an amazing outing for Jake Allen, my friends. I absolutely love this man. Franchise legend for the team-friendly deal he signed this summer. You all know the story. Teams were lining up to throw him big money, and he says, no. Just give me that 1.8 times 5, Fitzy. I'm good. I want to be a Devil. And a Devil he is. And a Devil he is, and a great one at that. We go to the little bit more in-depth stats here. Nicohischier. A lot of ice time tonight. 28-31 for Nico. 4 shots. Obviously, a lot of that came in the overtime session. 4 shots and a block. Glendening with 2 blocks and won a ton of big faceoffs in his 7:15 of ice time. Palat with 2 shots and a hit. Shane LaChance only seeing 6:24 ice time. Got a hit. Timo Meier, 5 shots. Wow. Nathan Legare with a block and 2 hits. Paulie Cotter with a shot and a hit to go with his assist. The Bratter with an assist and a big goal in the shootout. 3 shots and a block. Grits, the big power play goal on 2 shots and 2 blocks. Lamico, a shot, 2 blocks. Dawson Mercer, 2 shots and a hit. Dilly, a block and 2 hits. Shimo Nemec, a massive shootout goal winner. 2 shots, 4 blocks. Lukehughes, a goal and an assist on 3 shots, 2 blocks, and a hit. Dennis Chalowski, a shot, 3 blocks. Siegs, 2 shots, a block, 2 hits. And Jake Allen, another great outing for Jake Allen. 31 saves on 33 shots, only giving up 2. And an amazing outing for Jake Allen. What could we say about the Snake, my friends? Without the Snake, we would probably be in a little bit of a possibly worrisome time right now. If I'm being honest, I thought this was courtesy of our friends at MSG. They flashed this before the overtime started. Franchise history, overtime goals. Patrick Elias leading the pack with 16. I mean, wow, what a legend. I mean, if you were a fan during the Patty Elias days, congratulations. You witnessed some amazing teams. But Patty Elias with 16. The freshly sliced up Jack Hughes with 9 overtime winners. Scotty Niedermayer with 8. Zach Parisi with 7. The captain, Nicohischier, with 6. And John Moore with 6, which was a pretty funny era. I remember the John Moore overtime goal era pretty vividly. And then someone else asked on the cesspool known as X, was this the first time that a defenseman scored a game-winning shootout goal? And I had to do a little research real quick. And in fact, it was not. It was the second. So NEMO did something that's only been done once before in history. Damon Severson on December 29th, 2019, scored in the 6th round of the shootout to give the Devils a 3-2 win over the Bruins. But NEMO is obviously touching these kind of rare air scenarios. Became the first Devils defenseman in 41 years to record a hat trick against Chicago, and now he becomes the second Devils defenseman in history to record a shootout winner. And now I talk to you fine folks. The fine people. I'm having issues here. First, we get Daniel. Thank you for the super, sir. It's a good time to get your shit together. Did I say that or something close to it? But it is. It's true. You're either with us or against us. We're not taking any more flip-floppers. If you come out of the woodwork every time the team loses or we suffer a freak injury like broken glass or whatever happened at Chicago Cut. If you come out and celebrate these things, we will remember. We have receipts, and as a community, we will sharpen our collective samurai swords and take the heads clean off at the shoulder blade. Clean off. Don't be those people. Don't be miserable. Do the right thing. Deposit your apologies in the comments for Nemo, whoever it is. Deposit the apologies. We will welcome you back with open arms. But if not, we will come after you. We will remember. We do not forget. We do not forget. This team is different. David, thank you for the super, sir. Nemo, and more Nemo. I mean, what can we say about the legend of Shimo Nemec? It's growing by the day. I mean, who could have seen this coming? I obviously thought he had potential. We saw signs of it throughout, the first couple seasons. But as a 21-year-old defenseman, you just knew that he needed some time to hit his full potential. And I still don't think we're anywhere near his full potential, obviously. I still think he has a long way to go to reach the top of his game, and it's going to be beautiful when it happens. But in the meantime, he's doing some miraculous things. Again, forcing the overtime with that big bomb with 5 seconds left against the Islanders. That was a point it was a stolen point at the Rock. Stolen point. We would have got nothing out of that game. It would have been a terrible loss. Get the point there, and then he wins it in Chicago with the Hattie. And then tonight, he does his thing, and he gets tapped as the fourth shooter by Sheldon Keefe. He said, Keefe in the postgame said he wanted a righty. He said he knows Nemo's been feeling it. So he said, you know what? Let's give him a shot and see what he does. And he sent the boys home. 2 points. 2 points. David says, hot take, because of Nemec, can we now trade Dougie? Start the arguing. I'm going to emphatically say no. Despite what this team has been able to accomplish right now, you have to be realistic, and we're not going to get, there's been an element of luck in a lot of these wins for the Devils. Let's be real. There has been, but good and great teams find ways to win in all different ways, and the Devils have been on the right side of it more times than not. But at some point, they're going to go through spells where it's not happening for them. And I do feel it would be a grave error to trade Dougie before the summer. I think Dougie needs to be a part of this team for this playoff run. And then obviously with the cap crunch, I do think I am terrified. Another longer term issue, but not that too far in the future. Nemec and Gritsyuk are going to get paid this summer. Those boys are going to get paid. And that means money has to go out, and it's clearly going to be Dougie, in my opinion, in this summer. And it's going to suck. I love Dougie. You guys know how I feel about Dougie. But I do not want to see him dealt until the summer. The team needs to go on the last dance. We need this last run with Dougie. He's a huge part of the team, especially on the power play. He's gotten a little bit better defensively this season. I just think Dougie is a veteran presence that we need for this playoff run. I would hate to see him dealt. All right, now we got to skip ahead. Richard says, do not trade Dougie, especially with Jack out for 8 weeks. Yeah, I completely agree. Dougie is a big piece of this team and the power play. Four Devils says, I don't mind anyone getting traded as long as you get good value for them. In general, I am with that notion, but if you're talking about trading Dougie towards forward help, you may say, yes, we got good value, but I always hate creating a hole to address another need. Like, it's a lateral move at best, in my opinion. And so while I do agree with the notion of, everyone's tradable if you get good value, in the specific case of Dougie, it would have to be another defenseman, which I don't think would make any sense either to do that. But trading Dougie for offensive help, again, if the value is there, I still don't like it, because I do think Dougie is that important to this blue line. And I do think come playoff time, when the ice shrinks, it gets more violent, power plays become even more crucial, that you're going to need Dougie, and you're going to want Dougie. Not having him on this playoff run would really be heartbreaking. David says, with Jack out for 2 months, trading for a top six must be considered. For sure, with the cap crunch and all that stuff, I will say I am not expecting a big splash. I know a lot of people have high hopes and are expecting, some monster addition. I would be happy with a 3C, if I'm being honest. When healthy, if we have down the middle Jack, Nico, a newly acquired 3C, a guy like Ryan O'Reilly, and bumping Glass to 4C, I think that could be one of the most beneficial pieces to add to this team to make the best the best pizza pie, the whole recipe. I would like that. Obviously, a top 6 guy would be great too, but because of the lack of center depth and all that, I do think a guy like O'Reilly probably would be the most ideal add this Devils team could make. And depending on what Trotz would want from him in trade, we talked about this a little bit before on one of the other lives for you guys that are back. With a deal in place for this season and next at $4.5 million AAV, it would not be as hard to accommodate him or get him here, in my opinion, as some of the other names people are throwing around. But we will see. Ace is right here, Ryan Demand. Y'all are soft. Jonathan has been feeling it. Jason, we have a good future on the blue line and still have Salive in the pipeline, who I can hope develop further here in the States. Again, Salive, an exciting prospect, but he is, a futures piece, and this team should be in win now mode entirely. Win now. The window is open. This team must do everything in their power to truly win now, because years go by quick. Cores age, guys, maybe get injured, get dealt, leave in free agency, whatever it is. This core must win a Stanley Cup. Let's be real. If this core fails to win a Stanley Cup, it would be a crime against humanity. It would be one of the greatest atrocities to ever occur in hockey, to have this group together, and especially when you consider the team-friendly contracts. Obviously, Jack on one, Nico, Bratter, to have all these guys on team-friendly deals simultaneously and then get draft fortunes where you have the number 2 overall and take a guy like Nemo. You have the number 4 and get Luke. With all of these things going your way, you must win at least a cup with a group like that. And 5 years ago, I would have said this core would win 2. I would have said this core has to win 2. Now, all these years later, I'm happy with just 1. And I'm happy with just 1 before I croak. A lot of you guys know that. But if this core doesn't get it done, it certainly would be devastating. Richard says, Ace, put down the Italian hot dogs and get on here. I wish. I really wish. Salvatore says Nemec should be untouchable, showing exactly why he went 2 overall. And I agree. At this point, it would be devastating to me to see Nemo on another team. I mean, how much more clutch does this kid have to be to show you that he's a gamer? Obviously, it goes back to the last playoffs. Game 3, a double overtime winner, was kind of the start of the legend of Nemo, in my opinion. But a double overtime winner in Game 3 to cut the series deficit to 2-1 against the Hurricanes. And then you've seen what he's done in this past week, tying up a game with 5 seconds left to steal a point. Overtime hat trick the last game to get 2 points in Chicago. And then he gets the shootout winner tonight. I mean, he should be untouchable, in my opinion. M. Sharp says, good coaching, Keefe. Yeah, I mean, he's getting the best out of a depleted group. I do like Sheldon Keefe. I've talked about this for a while. I do believe a lot of other coaches with the roster we had last year would have missed the playoffs. I mean, if you look at some of those lineups, they were absolutely brutal. Brutal. The bottom 6 did nothing all year. Just guys going down left and right. And the fact that we even made it to the playoffs was truly a testament to the strong coaching of Sheldon Keefe, in my opinion. How about those Nemo? Zach says, huge 2 points. Nemec may have reached untouchable status. I completely agree. Stickfix says, how about Snake and... is that supposed to be an emoji? It's not showing up as an emoji for me. It says, how about Snake? And I guess that might be a Nemo emoji based on the text there. Joe Mama says, I started freaking out when Bratter went down. Okay, so to rewind to that. Frightening moment. I saw Ovi crush him, and I was like, oh, shit. And then when he went down to the ice and he didn't get up right away, I couldn't believe it. And then a couple seconds later, Luke scores. I had a similar reaction to Luke. I was like, yeah. And then the camera panned back, but it was like, yeah. And then I immediately was like, is Bratter dead? And then the camera went back and you saw Luke mouthing, getting all fired up because he thought Bratter was done too. And had Bratter left the game, I don't even know if I'd be here tonight, guys. I don't know where I would be. I might be in church somewhere. I might be in a mental asylum, in a padded room, in a straitjacket. I don't really know. But had Bratter went down, I wouldn't have been able to deal. I would not have been. To have Jack go down with a steakhouse rookie dinner injury and then Bratter go down at the hands of Ovechkin crunching him, it would have been too much to handle. Thankfully, it must have just been something short-term. Maybe he got the wind knocked out of him or whatever it was. Bratter rises from the dead. and all as well, but definitely a scary moment. And then we had another scare not much later where Brendan Dillon, I believe, left the game momentarily for whatever reason. That would be a massive loss on the blue line too. So once again tonight, despite the win, we had very scary moments twice where I thought I saw just scary scenes I'm envisioning in my head where Bratter almost injured, and the same with Dillon. Luckily, they both stayed in the game. And as far as we know right now, the team did not sustain any injuries tonight. Now, with that being said, we have seen in other games where there were injuries we didn't know about until like the following day or a couple days later. I hope that's not the case here. But at this point, I can't even really celebrate the team getting through a game injury-free until the next time they practice and we see everyone's there, because we've had these weird injuries that come out a day or two later. Jordan says, A's going to rip the Doomers. The Doomers are terrible. The Doomers are completely terrible. I haven't seen any here yet. Maybe they just, they got out all of their dooming nonsense with the Jack news, and then after the win, they went back into their holes. Ryder says, what a terrible game we managed to win, ladies. Nemo and Grits for the win. Evan, wins like tonight matter big time. Jonathan says, you can tell he's hammered. I'm certainly not hammered, Jonathan. I promise you. Nicole, this was a big one to help with the fans' hopes of this team following the loss of Jack. And even more so than the fans, I think it goes a long way with the team. Obviously, you saw it in Luke's face. When he thought Bratter was down, Luke looked like he was going to cry. He was like, I can't believe this is happening. My brother and our best player gets cut at the steakhouse, and now one of our other best players gets crushed by Ovechkin, and he was keeled over on the ice. Luke literally looked like he was going to cry. I think more so than the fans, and obviously it's great for all the fans, right? We're all flying high right now. But I think even more so for the psyche and morale of the team, for a team that has been very good this season thus far and has been able to overcome all of the injuries that they've sustained already. But now the big blow came. 86 is down, and now they have to rally even more, because now it's not just a bunch of injuries to, bottom six guys and defensemen. Now it's like your franchise player is down and out. He's not here. How are you boys going to respond? And for the team to rally the way they did, and especially after blowing the lead, I just think this is another signature kind of team bonding win. And more so than the fans, I think for the team themselves, this was just a massive morale boost, and hopefully something they could build on going forward, because we are going to be playing without our boy Jack for about 2 months. Michael, Dillon is okay. David Ryan says, we are entertained. Absolutely. Robbie's bench toss says, Nemo and Pesci are our most valuable fishy D-men right now. M. Sharb, wishing Jack well in a speedy recovery. Little bro stepped up for you. Yes, he did. All right, so now I got to skip ahead, guys. I got super far back again. He got very chatty after the wins, as you all know. And I don't see too much dooming here, which is not a surprise. The Doomers went back into their caves. Falker Sports Card, can't wait for your interview with the legend, Stan Fischler. Love listening to him. Should be a banger. Oh, yeah, let me drop that. Thank you for reminding me. I'm all fired up after this win. I would have forgot to mention that. But for the longtime fans or the fans looking to get their education on, Stan Fischler is an absolute legend of the game. I could talk to this man for days on end. There's nothing he doesn't know about. He knows about everything there is about the sport of hockey. His memory is insane. He's super sharp at 93 years old. It premieres tomorrow at 6 p.m. I will be in the chat. Hope to see some of you there. I just dropped the link in the chat for that. But thank you for the reminder, Falker. Stan Fischler on Running with the Devils tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Jared says, Grits is quickly becoming one of my favorites on the team. And how could you not, right? I mean, he has a great personality. Obviously, everyone loves his Telegram post. He's showing his daughter. He's writing funny stuff. Genius Jack Hughes. I did think he kind of got shafted in overtime. I don't know how he didn't get out there. But, we won the game, so I don't really care. But I do think it was, kind of interesting that he was not given any ice time in the overtime. Jason says, do you think we look for another center at some point to help with depth before or after Jack gets back? As we all stated, not about who we give up. It's making cap space for the player to come in. I think Fitz is going to explore, obviously. Whether that bears any actual trades happening is a whole nother story. I do think GMs are going to get greedy. They now know the Devils are in a vulnerable position Fitz doesn't like to get ripped off, and I think guys, other GMs are going to be looking for blood on a trade. And then obviously, like you alluded to, the whole cap situation, I do think O'Reilly would be a great one because it's only 2 years, this year, next, $4.5 million, but I'm not giving him, a ridiculous treasure chest of players and picks to make it happen. A prospect and a first rounder, something like that, I would swallow take your medicine and make the deal. But anything more than that, if they're asking for stupid returns, I say, sorry, Barry Trotz, not happening. Ryder says, Grits is a better sniper than Timo, to be fair. I'd rather Meyer in a lot of situations, but Grits is the better shot, period. Maybe. Probably just pure shot, but I don't know that Grits has the IQ of Timo yet, but I think it's going to continue to get better. I mean, listen, he's a great young kid, as is Timo. They both have cannons. I think one of them, should be on power play 1 and one should be on power play 2. I don't know that I'm ready to say Grits should push Timo to power play 2 yet, but both of them should definitely be seeing power play time regularly. You need a shot like that, and they both could get it off in a hurry. They don't need a lot of time. Just put it in the wheelhouse, and they're gonna get one off. Vic says, love the gutsy effort tonight. Seriously, hope we keep this up. Jake was a snake. Love Grits goal. Nemo with the slick hands, and the shootout was a cherry on top. Absolutely. Jordan says, Luke is an emotional guy. I like that. Seen him break a few sticks already. Yeah, he has a little temper in him. You could see him. The tempers flare a little bit. He broke a stick. I forget who we were playing, and they kept showing it on the replay. I got to speed ahead here. Merce Troops says, Grits is a phenom. Jordan Grits is no doubt going to be a superstar. Ride and respect. Team better buy Allen a nice pre-cut steak dinner with no knives involved. Absolute masterclass from him tonight. And just going back to the Jack thing, supposedly now the story is he slipped and cut himself on broken glass. It had nothing to do with the steak knife, supposedly. NJ Swanfox says, Allen's our number 1 goalie now. I don't know about that, but it could potentially get there. I hope we see Markey dominate again. I really do. But in the meantime, it certainly feels safer with Jake Allen right now. I just don't think anyone would disagree with that. And you guys know I love Markey. Tasha, Nemo is Mr. Clutch. Yes, he is. Merce Troops says, agreed, Ace. Markey is shaky. Jordan, I think Allen is just hot this year. The man from Jers, gut check time, and we responded with Jack out. We need to protect home ice and get whatever we can on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, get out to the Rock and support the boys. Absolutely. They return to the Rock on the 24th, I believe, against, is it Detroit? Let me just double check. Yep, Monday the 24th against Detroit, and then they're back there Wednesday the 26th against the Blues, Friday the 28th at Buffalo, and then back home the 29th against the Flyers. Let's go. Swamp Fox says Glendening did his job in OT. Yeah, he was a beast. Absolute beast winning those faceoffs. How I Got Her, Jeremy Proper says, with Jackie Boy out, I was thinking on passing on Thursday down here in South Florida after tonight. No way. If you're local, shame on you. How dare you bail on this team, Jeremy Proper? This is not last year's New Jersey Devils. This is not. This team is different, and they are getting it done with a slew of injuries. Completely insane amount of injuries, and they're still getting it done. Next man up. Traveling Devil says, I'm good with Markstrom in Florida. Brad is usually a Panther killer. Tasha, I agree. Nemo Selly. Joe Mama, Bratter is so good in extra time. Yeah, when you see him in overtime, the same with a lot of our other guys, and Jack as well. When you have these top level elite talents with all that open ice, you're going to see a show. And I mean, the overtime was so entertaining tonight. Stick figures, you can tell just by their mask styles. Allen has calming classic 90s style. Calming like you have Marty in that. Markstrom has intense art and a giant skull. High octane nail biting goaltending. That is pretty funny. James Nemec has been the hero in 3 games straight. He certainly has stepped up his game. Absolutely. Absolutely. True Patriot, the Don LaGreca call is just awesome. Ace, watch the Devils' future BU goalie Yegorov get peppered for 6th night against Quinnipiac. He legit faced 80 shots. Wow, 50 shots. 50 shots. Wow. I heard he's been struggling, but I heard they've been playing like crap in front of him. I'm going to try to see him in person soon. I got to take a look at the Devils' schedule and figure out when is the most opportune time for me to take a little road trip, but I always love hockey road trips, especially to colleges and especially to the city of Boston. One of my favorites. Benjamin Jake, the Snake Baby. Devil Heaven says, put a pitchfork in it. Great win. Rider 64 Grits was underutilized tonight. I agree a little bit. I really wanted to see him in the overtime with all that open ice. I thought he was going to get a chance, but I think Keefe just wanted to maybe play it a little safer. But Cotter got a little bit of time out there. NJ Swamp Fox, Luke bags his first goal and his focus was on Bratt. Showed me a lot about his character. I mean, yeah, I think most people with any sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, but in a situation like that where another one of your best guys goes down, crushed by Ovechkin, like at that point, who even cares about your goal? Even though it was a huge goal to give the Devils a 2-0 lead. Merce Troop says, Ace, your recap is epic. Thanks. David Chimes, Gritsyuk is real deal top 6 as a rookie. Does everything right in every area of the game. I agree as well. Grits has been everything as advertised and more. I mean, all we heard about, for him coming over here was, he's got a great shot, quick release, blah, blah, blah. But really, he just has great hockey sense. He hustles back on D. Can make really sweet passes we've seen already on the young season. And I think he's going to be a phenomenal player. Again, I am petrified regarding what his agent is going to be looking for this summer. I think it could really be a staggering number, but that's a future problem. And for now, I am going to, enjoy this emergent rookie season from the young arsenygritsyuk. Ryder said, I had to defend Nemo against the haters for a while. Kid is dynamite. Yeah, there's just so many negative people, unfortunately. Ryan Demand says, deposit your apologies in the comments for Nemo. Jordan, I'm buying that Grits jersey and wearing it to Nashville when the Devils come to town in March. Yeah, it's a good one to buy. You guys know how I feel about current players. But if you're into wearing jerseys of current players, Grits would definitely be high on my list as well. I might want to wait till he signs that contract this summer just in case. But hopefully he's here for a long time and is part of this, this new kind of younger group attached to the core. P-Funk says, how much does Ace love saying Shimo Nemec? Epic recap, Ace, you're like a poet when talking about the Devils. Thank you. I do like saying Shimo Nemec, especially in big moments like that. I like saying anyone's name in a big moment, but Shimo Nemec just feels so good, especially after the last game he had and now tonight. I mean, wow. Wow. Robert says, you said you wouldn't put Nemec on power play 1. You owe us an apology. I don't know that I said I wouldn't do it. I think I said I didn't think Keefe would do it, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm a Nemo guy. I like Nemo. I just did not think that Keefe would have it in him, to be honest, because, that was technically Luke's spot. And now with Dougie out, I thought, he would have just kept going with it. But I'm glad to see that he did not stick with it and said, you know what, Nemec has earned it and put him out there. Merce Troop says nothing is over. Samuel, what's Nemo's new contract going to cost? I think it's going to be a lot. A lot of it depends on how his season finishes. But if he keeps scoring and putting up points at anywhere near this rate, I would not be surprised if it's in that $8 to $10 million range. I really wouldn't be shocked. It's a ton, but what choice do you have? Mark says, Devils winning shootouts, dogs sleeping with cats. P-Funk says, I say Nemo would eclipse $8 million a year if he keeps this up. Yeah, I completely agree. If he scores 50-plus points, and let's see, he could possibly get 60, that's going to be the price tag or the market value, if you will, on a guy like him. I did say that, and I came clean on that earlier on a previous live. I did say once upon a time, it was a fleeting moment. It wasn't for long. I guess at the lowest point, I did say if I had to pick one, I would stick with Casey because I thought we could use the puck-moving defenseman, and I, in that moment in time, I come clean on that. But I moved off of that pretty quickly, if you remember, Woodson. And once, Casey continued to kind of struggle in the D zone, I firmly went back and I was like, nah, Casey might have the flashy highlight reel, stick handling and goals. But in the end, the more solid two-way defender in Nemo, I thought would be the better long-term play. And it's turned out that now his offense has hit a new level that I didn't foresee coming, but I did go back to Team Nemo pretty quickly. Stickfigs Ace, we can't expect heavier, edgier, more violent to be at its full strength. When the pinnacle of heavier, edgier, more violent on the Devils, Jack Hughes has been taken from us in a gruesome freak accident. Man. Luke says, can we please play Allen more than Markstrom now? I certainly would ride the hot hand. And I didn't call for a Nemo trade. For a brief period of time, I said I would prefer to keep Casey. I originally I would rather keep Nemo. I did get momentarily high on the Casey fumes and said that I'd now rather keep Casey, but that didn't last long, and I quickly did go back to Nemo after seeing some of the same kind of worrisome things from Casey. I did go back to preferring to keep Nemo. Yeah, I just said that, Kyle, and then I went back. You could go back and watch the thing. Woodson, I will say, was always on Nemec for sure. For sure. Sook says, I would also argue Bratt keeps the A on his jersey when Jack comes back. That is not going to happen. No, because I was never. The apologies are for haters and losers that just throw barbs and talk smack. I never did either one of those. It was just in the context of talking about because everyone was looking to trade for forward help, if we were to trade one of those guys, this was in the context of which one would you rather keep? And I always was on keep Nemec. And then amidst the Casey craze for about a week or so, maybe even less, but about a week, I think it was, I did say, at this point, I think I'd rather keep Casey. But then after we saw some of the D zone struggles and stuff again, I think I straight up said, like, I did get a little disoriented momentarily. I'm back on Team Nemec, just the more solid two-way defender. Husky says, let's go Devils. Four Devil says, there's a lot of garbage from Nemo for a long time. Criticism was warranted, but he's showing he's getting better. Oh, he's definitely getting better. But again, there's going to still be some rough nights for him ahead. I mean, still very young in this league. It's not all going to be just, hat tricks in overtime and shootout winners and all of these things. But by and large, he is just taking that next step this year, and he's looking like an animal, complete animal. John Wood says, Nemec is stronger and showing more offensive talent than Luke. At the very moment right now. At the moment right now, I would agree. Now, can he keep it up? I don't know. But we have both of them, and I don't see either one of them being traded anytime soon, and hopefully they're both here long term. I think with those two guys as big parts of your decor, the future is super bright. Let me put on my future as bright glasses. But they're also part of the now. And the right now has to be bright. We need to make a push for this cup. But they're certainly part of a very bright future as well. Sasha says, agree. Merstube, Ace, you're so loose on the mic these days. Is that good or bad? True Patriot. I'm very worried, though, about the team with injuries. We beat a mid-team and happy for 2 points. But what happens when schedule gets harder? The team on the ice tonight gets it done. No, I alluded to that earlier. We have had an element of luck. Again, you kind of make your own luck in a lot of cases. But reinforcements do need to be brought in my opinion. We do need a center desperately. We're not going to be able to kind of go on this path for 8 weeks without Jack Hughes and hope to have luck on our side every night. Because eventually it's going to catch up to us and it's not going to happen. But we celebrate tonight because we got victory drinks. Victory drink. Oh, man, they're so delicious. But I do agree. We do need some reinforcements, and we need a center badly. Got to get a center. Now, whether it's a guy like O'Reilly or it's more of a, another Cody Glass-ish type center, something's got to give. Something's got to come in. Something's got to be brought in. Woodson says, I always thought Luke would be our offensive D-man and Nemec our shutdown, but how times have changed. Traveling, Casey was really hot in the first 10 games of the season. Tasha, dude, and Nemec with that insane save in OT. I remember seeing someone comment before he blew up a few weeks ago that he's been underwhelming and still hasn't taken the massive step. I'm totally entertained. Totally entertained, Tasha. Sook says, in a hypothetical, if Bratt was American, I'm sure Team USA would take him over Hughes if they had to choose one. That's an interesting one, but I can't say definitively one way or another. It would definitely be a debate, I think. All right, we got to skip ahead here. Tasha says we don't speak of Chicago cut. Merce says, Ace, these people were calling the season. I know, it's crazy. And I shamed them then, and I shame them now. If you were one of these people, oh, the season's over, the Devils suck, it's the same thing again this year. Deposit those apologies. Deposit those apologies, because one day when I'm bored, you guys, I told you, I've been dying. The samurai short has been, it's getting sharpened daily. But one of these days when I'm bored, I'm going to start wielding it. And when I do, heads are rolling off. They're just going to be detached, cleanly detached in one foul beheading. So deposit those apologies while you still can, because the samurai is coming out. Devil Heaven says Ace for Devs Prez. I don't know what that means, but I like the sound of it, so thank you for that. Troy Machine says Ace is too animated. Mic bump incoming. So you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, Troy. I did do some tinkering to make it a little more durable against my animation. So I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but we should be good to go, barring like I'd have to like Gronk spike it, I think, for it to get loose now. I was messing around with it the other day because I can't be dealing with like if I just lightly breathe on it that the cable comes out. It's insane. Tasha, he's been so hot defensively too, not just clutch offensively. Woodson, I get the Nemo hype, but come on, it's a win in a shootout. We are still in a world of hurt in the next 2 months. Oh, Woodson, can you stop and smell the flowers for a second? Woodson, please. The incessant glass half empty. How about the glass is half full? We just got another big win tonight and are now 2-0. 2-0 to start this road trip. Could we enjoy it for a minute? My God. Robert, we all know it wasn't a glass with Jack. Come on now. We'll never know. I mean, what else could it be, though? At this point, it doesn't even matter. He's out for 2 months. I mean, I would like to know the real story just for entertainment's sake, but, like, who the hell cares? I'm kind of over it, but there's people hell-bent on, like, let me get the real story. I don't think we will. All right, there's a lot of comments here. Woodson, keep talking. Where is your show, Woodson? I implore you, please do a show so you can have no tech issues. You can have the best takes, and everyone will love you, Woodson. I'm waiting for it. You've been talking shit for a year and a half. Where is your show? Please start one. Yeah, Boo Woodson is right. Suk, I've given Nemec a lot of grief, but he's honestly a better forward. Honestly, a better forward as a defenseman than most of our bottom and some of our top six. I don't know what that means. He's playing defense. I guess you mean like he's better offensively, I suppose, is what you meant by that. All right, we're trying to skip ahead here. There's so many comments. Cheers to all you guys for coming out. There's a million comments. You know, I'm doing my best here. The big wins and big losses. The chat is super active. Wooden says Grits will get a max of 6, Nemec's 9. If that's the case, Nemo will go bye-bye since we were so obsessed with getting Quinn. I'm not one of those people, Woodson, but I just understand when I clearly see a vision or a plan, and it's clearly what the team wants. I've already said I would much prefer to get forward help with that money and or assets, but they clearly are going to go for Quinn. But I think there's some good money coming off that year that they would have to get Quinn. So I don't know that it would necessarily prevent it. P-Funk says, by the way, Chalowski has been so good and solid filling in. Guy's a worker, always makes the right decision and love his passing. Yeah, he's trying to keep it simple, which, by the way, bear with me 1 second. You just reminded me of something I wanted to I have a package that I didn't open that 1 second. I have that reminded me of something. Oh, we're gonna do a live unboxing here. That just reminded me. I got to get my scissors. I don't want to get cut. I don't want to be on the IR with our boy Jack. So I'm just gonna use these scissors. But this was something that I needed to get. Live unboxing. The first live unboxing of volume 1 of shit that I don't need whatsoever but can't help myself because I have a disease. And that is a New Jersey Devils collecting disease. But when the museum, when I break ground on the museum, when the museum is finally finished, I hope to see some of you at the ribbon cutting ceremony because it's going to be glorious. It's a life's work will be unveiled for some of the public to see anyway. And there'll be opportunities for you fine folks. But what we have here, there's even a hair on it. We have some Dennis Cholowski DNA. This is a Dennis Cholowski game-worn helmet from last year, but the main reason I wanted one of these is because this one from last season has the sticker for Ray Shero on it. It's hard with the lighting. You see the Ray sticker right here or here? I mean, the camera's like backwards, so I got the Ray Shero sticker, the 44, and this also has the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs on there. I think he played in one playoff game, or at least at home. Yeah, at one playoff game. I think game 4. But yeah, that Cholowski comment reminded me of that. But yeah, Dennis Cholowski with the game-worn helmet with the Ray sticker. I needed that for Ray Shero. All right, we got to get ahead here. Flying ahead. Artie says, when is Dodonov coming back? Your guess is as good as mine, my friend. I have no idea. But we don't know with these injuries. I just now wait to see when they, when Keefe says or someone else says they're going to play. Because anything else is just a guess. Daniel says, Stan is still alive. That dude was old and funny even in the 80s. Yeah, Stan is still alive and kicking really sharp, still 93 years young. Great guy. Oh, man, Santa Claus, the Maven. Steven says, Ace, try to interview Deb Placey next. I love her. That would be an interesting one. John NJ Devil says, Grits is my favorite Russian. Yeah, Deb Placey, a.k.a. Deb Kaufman. And I guess, real quick, I'll pop this up just because I have it. Quick little dose of nostalgia for the longtime fans. What a crew. What a crew we had. There we have Deb Placey or Deb Kaufman with Stan the Maven Fischler, obviously Mike Doc Emmerich, and Glenn Chico Resch. What a time to be a New Jersey Devils fan. Oh, man. All right, the nostalgia hour's over. Back to the matter at hand. Matt and the Maven, oh, my God. We talked about Matt and the Maven. Devil Heaven says, Grits is looking calm, cool, and honestly sick. Yeah, he's going to be a star. He is going to be a star, and like I said, hopefully we don't get caught in an ugly contract negotiation. P-Funk says, I remember telling Ace preseason Gritsuk was going to be one of the most important pieces of the season, never any doubt. A lot of you guys were very high on him early, and I said, I'm just hoping for the best. I could not allow myself to set myself up for that level of disappointment had it not panned out. I said from the beginning, I believe he 100% is going to be a very good bottom 6 player with the potential of being a top 6, and he's proved it. He really has. Honky Lips is going on. Great win. Woodson says a 50% Nico is better than anyone we got in the AHL. Completely agree there. I mean, I don't even know, what the center depth in Utica is, but John NJ Devils 13-4-1 is a nice ring to it. Allen playing out of his mind. Get out to the Rock, people. Yeah. Get to the Rock and make some noise. I'm very excited for them to return home. By the time they come home, it's going to be about 2 weeks since the last game, and it just seems like an eternity. Bratt was dancing in OT. Devil Heaven. Bratter figured it out, but you could see the chemistry lost. Suk Palat won't start producing. That's the thing. He would have done it a long time ago if he still could. He's there to win board battles and to fill a spot because you can't leave a position blank, I guess. Not even worth trying. So many fans love to cry a river. Glad to be optimistic and see this club push on. Lots of great depth this year compared to years prior, and it's showing. I mean, yeah. last year we saw with way less injuries that the depth was just non-existent, and we were just trying a constant rotation of guys in the bottom six that were just underwhelming. It is what it is. If you look at some of those lines from some of those games, you're like, what the hell is this? And the bottom six did nothing. That is not going to be the case this year. It really is not. And we're getting some timely contributions from the defense on certain nights. It's pretty nice. John NJ Devils says, what's your favorite arena outside Jersey to catch a game? Smashville for me. I haven't been to a ton, but I've been to a good amount. Nashville would definitely be on my short list, as would TD Garden in Boston. I like the arena a lot. I like the city a lot. Boston is always a great place to see the Devils on the road. Woodson says, if Grits wants 7-8, you trade him for a proven top six forward. Without a deal in place, you think you could get that for him? I'm curious. And then what is that top six forward going to want in terms of money? I think that's a messy scenario. Devil Evans says, Ace, you got that blue Scouts jersey. I do not. I do not have a Scouts jersey. Woodson says, Plot will finish his contract in New Jersey, like it or not. I think there's a very good chance of that. SST said, people asking for Nemo apologies are the same people who demanded to trade him for pucks. Irony. I was not one of those people. They definitely did exist. There were people that were super over the top with it, like every other topic that comes up in New Jersey Devils fandom. There's obviously the extremists, and there certainly were people, I should say, that were saying stuff like that, but I certainly was not one of them. John Face says, Nemo on Power Play 1. Thank God it wasn't Luke. Krung says, when did Ace let you out of the doghouse? I didn't. He just has 500 screen names, guys. I can't keep up with all the screen names. He has 1 million. Antonino says, Dougie's 9 mil, Plot 6 mil. Is 14 enough to sign Grits and Nemo? Well, Antonino, your math is pretty bad, my guy. 9 and 6 is 15 million. But is 15 million enough to sign Grits and Nemo? I would think, but there's other things going on behind the scenes as well, in terms of the cap space situation. What's going on, Fred? Jordan, hockey is a crazy game. There's been guys with 100-goal seasons and not even 30 the next. Yeah, success one season is definitely not a guarantee of success afterwards. Tasha says I'm being rage baited. Oh, man. John Face says, Nemo is showing Casey how it's done. Now we must see how Casey plays when and if he ever gets a call up, hoping it never happens. I mean, that's a little harsh. But I will say if he does get another call up, that would likely mean more injuries occurring, which we don't want to see. I've seen all the injuries I care to see for quite some time. I would love to see the Devils not get any more injuries to the rest of the season. I don't know how realistic that is. And it's probably not very realistic, but John Wood says, Luke can't get the puck past defenders. It's infuriating. You mean the shots? He does shoot into traffic a lot or like right into players. Hopefully he, picks his spots a little bit better. But tonight he got that thing through and right into the back of the net. Devil Evans says, A's for mayor. Oh, thank you. A's for president. For president of what exactly? The local PTA? Fred says we should keep both Casey and Nemec and trade Dougie. I mean, we still have a very crowded blue line when everyone is healthy. Now, is everyone ever healthy all at once? Maybe not. That could be a pipe dream, but maybe it isn't. We will see. Devil Evans says, like to see Edwards up in time. I'm a huge Edwards guy. You guys know that. I think he would be the next one up in the event of another injury. Slurp says, just say it. It'd be a glorious time to be a Devils fan. Robert says, who would you take from the Leafs fire sale coming Ace? I don't even know. You really think they're going to have a fire sale, huh? I mean, it's still so early. It's way too early to proclaim that. Jason says, saw a post. Grits called Luke Genius Jr. That's hilarious. Is that real? He called him Genius Jr.? I didn't see that one yet, but that is pretty funny. Yeah, Grits is hilarious. Merchtube, it's a good thing you're good at this. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sook says, makes me think adding Quinn would make them all neutered offensively. Well, we're going to find out. He's going to be here, I do believe, July 1st, 2027. Crumb says every game will be a battle with Jack out on top of all the injuries. I give serious props to Keith for being willing to change everything on the fly, and he has to. He's got to stay kind of on the move. You never know. Every day is a winding road. Our whole right side of the defense is down. Connor Brown is down. McEwen is down. Cody Glass is down. We got Mercer filling in at center. We got other guys kind of floating around. It's a lot. But somehow, some way, Keith has these boys playing and getting wins. Banking 2 points. Jonathan says we can't afford O'Reilly under the cap unless they take back Palat. Or someone else that makes a lot of money, obviously, which I would not want to see. Sherry says, saw Casey Hallinan and Dawes playing Utica last night. Very nice. How was that experience? Tasha said, I'm so excited for the Samurai Sword video. I've actually been looking forward to this. It's going to happen one day. One day. Sook, I agree with some of the optimism, but to act like we're wrong for the criticisms when they played one game without Jack Hughes is a crazy take. No, because you people have been dooming all season long and like waiting for the bottom to fall out. And it hasn't happened. Despite all the injuries, you people have been talking shit all season long. And you're wrong. And you're wrong. Oh, it's coming, SST. Don't worry. It eventually will come. I'm just chilling in the shadows right now. John Fay, Ace is going to go full samurai and begin listing all the names of the doomers, doubters, and negative people. Oh, my God, Woodson. We are going down like Chinatown, just getting y'all ready. Like, this is the negativity I don't like, Woodson. Like, why do you want that to happen? It just doesn't make any sense. LJ, the steakhouse has 6 one-star reviews in the past 24 hours from Devils fans. I talked about this briefly on the earlier live, the emergency live, talking about the Jack injury. I think that's like total scumbag behavior, in my opinion. They had nothing to do with it, or outside of the fact that it happened in their establishment, but more than likely it was of no fault of theirs. And for people to, tarnish someone's business with reviews for a place you've never been to, I just think is totally uncalled for and ridiculous. Jesse says, I still don't get why y'all torture yourself with these fools. Blocked Woodson and SST somewhere back in last season, and the grass is as green as it gets over here. Clowns. Oh, man. That's pretty funny. Jordan says, good night. For the red and black, my Bulldogs got a W2. M. Sharp, imagine some of these doomers in the locker room eating soap, walking around with a jockstrap across their mouths. Sook says, it's a lose-lose. If the Devils win the cup, Woodson will apologize, but if they don't, it's always the future is bright nonsense. Faye, if we win the cup, Ace is going to be in the hospital as well as most of the chat. I'm getting closer to being caught up here. Yes, that is a Chalowski helmet. That is a Chalowski. So now I'm saying that is a. Oh no, is the sound out? Are you guys messing with me? Faye, it's not a disease, it's a hobby. You like collecting stuff. Traveling, I slept through the auction. No, Riche, I wish. David Chalowski White had a good game tonight. A lot of good, strong little defensive plays. Oregano says, I always wondered how you're supposed to pronounce museum. Yeah, there's a piece of his hair in it. Maybe we could clone him. Tasha, will be at the museum. I want a Devils merch video so bad. You have so much cool stuff. I keep thinking about ways to do some of that stuff. John, I got Nico and Meyer this week for my grade. Nice. Helmets? Because I just wanted, to be honest, Tasha, I wanted a bit like a better player, but the price difference was substantial enough where I really just wanted it for the Ray Shiro sticker. So I just went with the Cholowski. I thought it'd be a Colton White game worn jockstrap. No. Yeah, hit the like. Thanks. Hit the like. I always forget about that. Frank, I've never been critical of a player who didn't deserve it, but if I'm one of the guys who keep threatening to go samurai on, I say bring it. I got chunks of guys like you in my stool. I don't think you're on the list, Frank. I think the people that are on the list know. Y'all are soft. Ray's last gift was grits, and amongst many gifts that he brought this franchise, that Fitzy was the beneficiary of when he took over the Devils. Stick Figs, they do have auctions. Yeah, they auction them off, Tasha, for certain things. John Fay, it's going to be an interesting situation to come when it does come into play. Do we keep Nemo and trade Casey? Or do we trade Nemo and keep Casey? No, I think at this point it's clear that we're going to keep Nemo, or at least that should be the plan. Jonathan Doe, real old heads remember when we actually had Gary Thorne on play-by-play. Gary Thorne on the ESPN call of the 2000 Stanley Cup Finals was phenomenal. It was a fun time. David says, I see a 65-point season from Grits, third place Calder behind Schaefer and Minkov. Robert became a Devils fan at 11, met Chico at a mall in Long Island. He let me put on a Stanley Cup ring. Was hooked. Nicest guy, that Chico. Yeah, Chico's the man. Chico is amazing. Steven says, Ace, try to interview Deb Placey. Okay. Larry, having to play both Nemo or pay both Nemo and Gritzy next year wouldn't happen if Fitzy brought Gritzy in the end of last year like he promised. No, but it would have been a cap crunch for this year. How would that even have worked? I'm curious. If he just played the playoffs, like they don't even have a basis to know, like, how would you even negotiate a contract? It would have been weird. I wanted to see him last year. Obviously, I wanted all the help we could get for the playoffs. Tosh says, Fitz also has to sign Cotter. Do we think he's going to stay? I hope he does. I really like Paul Cotter. I like Paul Cotter, and I hope he's here, but I think there's so many variables that it's hard to predict. Evan, Ace, if you visit Minnesota for a game, lots of our Devils fans will be at Tom Reed's in St. Paul. Massive hockey area. Road games are so fun to go galvanizing with fellow Devils fans. So, Evan, there is a chance I might be going in January. True Patriot, I think it was a couple $100. It wasn't a lot. David Chime says, Paul Cotter is the weakest Devil. I'm not the only one to notice it. Uncle Pucker see it too. Playing like a dummy, ruining plays, plotting, getting points, but not ruining plays. I still like Cotter, guys. Does he do some bonehead stuff sometimes? Yes. I admit that he does. But I think he just needs to have an extended chance before everyone banishes him to the whatever place you want to banish him to. Woodson, so you're telling me if Buffalo would agree to it, which they wouldn't, you would say no to trading Grits for Tuck for what would end up being the same cap. There's no way it's going to be the same cap, Woodson. Tuck is going to get way more than Grits. I like Tuck a lot. I like Grits too, but I don't think that's a fair proposal because the cap is not going to be the same. Didn't a story come out that Tuck wanted like 10 or 11 million bucks? Antonino says Nemo probably 7 times 7.5-ish. David Chime says, Woodson, it's Ace's show, but Grits should be 100% untradeable. I can't call him 100% untradeable, but it would take something It would have to be it would have to be to consider moving him. It would have to be something super substantial coming the other way, because we haven't even seen anywhere near the best of Grits yet. He's still young, still new in the league. He's just going to continue to get better and better. Benjamin Rock was built on a 19th century Presbyterian church cemetery. They literally unearthed coffins digging the foundation. Maybe that explains things. I had heard something about this a while back, and then I saw a couple posts making its round recently. That is super creepy. Very, very creepy. And maybe it does have something to do with the curse and misfortune. Woodson says, I have a Lou mindset. We are missing size and toughness. Have to give up something good to get it. I agree with that. I want size and toughness, obviously. That I will always agree with Woodson. You know how I feel about that. Heavier, edgier, more violent, and I still think we have a ways to go in that department, but they have made some progress in the past couple of years, but I'm afraid still not enough. Would like to be a little more of all of those things. Woodson says, Mercer has become untouchable to me this year. Absolutely. The emergence of Mercer with that $4 million cap hit and the ability to play in all situations and play wing and play center. Obviously, we've seen him have to move back to the middle with all these injuries. You can't find too many guys like him around, and especially not at $4 million. Tosh says, in the video where Keefe gives LeChance his first game puck, he looks so small and LeChance looks massive. He is massive. He's very, very massive. The gated shift. The reality is that last season, this team would not be 13-4-1 with these injuries. There's hope for this team. They just need to stay afloat. Completely agree. We've talked about this after tons of games. There's so many games, including even tonight's, that last year's team would not have won. And if you can't see that for yourself, then I don't know what to tell you. This team is different. Their temperament is different. Everything about them, the way they go about their business is different. And because they've been able to withstand all this adversity early on in the season, I do think the sky is the limit for them. And I am pumped to see what they could do come playoffs. SST says, thanks God Mercer decided to go on a career year this year and not the next. Otherwise, he would have been on the trade block. Faye, by the time you see this message, it'll be 5 to 10 minutes after I typed it. Close. 8 minutes. Yeah, you're right on. 8 minutes. I'm getting close. Jordan says, Ace, you have any Brodeur nets? What does that mean? What do you mean by nets? I have a ton of Marty stuff. Like an insane amount of Marty stuff, actually. Lightning JM, man, that first period was what made us win. Got basically outplayed the whole game after, but I'm glad we got the win in the end. I don't know about the whole game, but definitely the third was brutal. Brutal. Jason, my next games I'll be able to get to are the Blues game, Flyers, Canucks, minus Jack, and sweet room for my veterinary staff, and Sabres game at least this year anyway. Very nice. Yeah, some of you guys are crazy in the comments. Knowles, we don't deserve Nemec. Kid is great. Also, is it wrong to nickname Gritsuk Gritty because of the Flyers mascot similarity? I mean, isn't the Flyers mascot actually named Gritty? Isn't that the name? Jordan says Cotter is one of the 4 Americans. We have to support him. I'm a Cotter guy till the end. Oh, even worse, to my point, Zach. Okay, so Tuck wanted $13 million a year. Yeah. So Woodson, there's no planet that Grits is going to ask for $13 million. So their cap hit is not going to be the same. Wooden says, y'all forget Mercer needs to get paid the following year. That's after next season. Trevor, late to the party. Big win tonight. If we can ever get this team fully healthy, they'll make a deep run in the playoffs. Trevor, not even fully healthy, just close to fully healthy. I don't think we're ever going to see the entire roster available. But if we get close to it, I think this team will be deadly. Woodson, what is fair for Grit? 6 or 7? I mean, the jury's still out on that, my man. We have no idea. It's going to depend on what his season ends at. But if he goes between 50 and 60 points, I have to believe that you're probably, he's going to be asking for that range, right? 6 to 7 million. Maybe even a little bit more, depending on what other contracts are signed between now and then, where they could pull comps from. But in the new cap world, the money is just, GMs are just making it rain. Face says, for once, no negativity. I don't know if it's a miracle or what. Dylan money will come off too. Woodson says, this team will only be different when they get past round 1. You can't convince me otherwise. We're going to the conference finals at a minimum this year, my guy. Conference finals are bust. George, great to see this team play strong fundamental hockey with 1 penalty, strong special teams, and the will to win. I like it, George. I like it. Jason, hopefully Fitz can find a way to make it all happen with Nico, Mercer, and Quinn in 27 offseason. Need to focus on Nemec and Grits this offseason and move on likely from Dougie and Palat to work it. Yeah, we'll see. The Palat thing, I think, as Woodson pointed out before, there is a chance. There is a chance that he does finish his contract out here. Like the 300 net piece or 552 net piece, my cousin has a piece of both. Yep, I do have the 552 net plaque. It's not handy, but I love that thing. I was at 552, and one day I'm going to show some super truly special items. I will say that I am lucky enough to own several items, and by several I mean a lot of items that are truly worthy of being in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And I will eventually show them when the time is right. Haggider, Jeremy Proper, the Rock was built on a cemetery. May that explain our injuries? It's certainly freaky. Certainly freaky. John Wooden says, I hate society for this 6-7 thing. I still don't fully know what it is, but I know the kids are obsessed with it. David, Gritsuk as an RFA, no arbitration, $5 to $6 million on a bridge. Mercer had to sit out camp to get $4 million in a lower cap atmosphere. Evan says, Ace, these wins make the Dirty Devil vodka taste even smoother. Let's get that back in the studio. Crib, Rock, and love getting these early season points. Take Mo to Tampa. Hopefully 2 wins in Tampa. Hopefully we get the 2 wins in Florida for sure. Daniel says, maybe the Devils can get a priest to perform some type of exorcism on the Rock. It needs something. It certainly needs something because the curse is still here. Woodson says the world was better before the internet. I agree. But pros and cons of everything. Obviously, the internet. Without the internet world, who would we be talking to right now? We wouldn't be able to do this and read people's idiotic comments and whatever else is going on in here. Krung says, why do you pretend that you live in NJ? That's interesting. Trying to prove he isn't SST. Wood said, I remember choke slamming my friends on a trampoline trying to mimic WWE. Good times. You're not that old then, Woodson, because it was WWF forever. And then it transitioned to WWE. I think there was actually a lawsuit with like the what the hell was that Panda company? It was something with WWF. I think it was like Worldwide something Federation. Evan, next to a Tampa and a Florida, we already have 4 out of 4 versus those two clubs. If we double down on that with wins in Florida this week, that's another huge block to get over for our confidence. Justin says, world was better before Starbucks and cell phones. Man. Krung says, both of them coming back the same day. And Suk basically saying, I agree, SST, with every message, he ain't beating the allegations. Listen, I said this last time. I'll never be convinced that it's not the same person. But you know, it is what it is. My opinion and mine will certainly not be changed. There's certain things that I just cannot overlook, and for eternity, I will believe it's the same person. World Wildlife Fund, thank you. Yeah, I think there's a lawsuit. Then they had to change their name. Crazy stuff. I remember being like, what the hell is this? Like, just let them have their name. Ben Jam says, looking forward to that Saturday night Flyer game in Philly. Not going to lie. Woodson said, I feel better carrying a bulletproof vest. Honky Lips, does anyone tailgate or go to bars near the Rock before the game? So tailgating is not a thing anymore. Rest in peace, tailgating. Was one of my favorite things at the old arena. There's nothing will ever be the same like it. I miss it dearly, and it sucks that we don't have it anymore. But no tailgating, but there are 2 bars literally a stone's throw across from the front of the arena, and so they typically are pretty rocking on game days before and after the game. Bobby, thank you for the super, sir. Solid win, Ace. Oh, hold on, my computer's acting crazy here. Bear with me a moment. Solid win, Ace, but what you know, Luke almost cost us another win with his turnovers. Explain to me why Luke is still power play 1 and why was out there most of OT. Nemec should have been out there. Keith is blinded by the last name. So Nemec was on power play 1. NEMO was on power play 1. As far as overtime goes, I thought there was a chance we would see Nemec, but I don't know. Because Luke is so accustomed to playing it, maybe he just felt more safe with Luke, and being that with Luke's speed and kind of skating, maybe he thought it was a better fit. I don't know. Maybe he thought Nemec might get a little overwhelmed. I mean, there's a lot going on when you have to cover that much ice with only 3 guys out there. You know, the overtime's a different animal, but Nemo did get power play 1, so it's not Keith just catering to the last name, if you will. I think he is going to just do whatever he believes is better for the team, and you saw it. Nemo's been hot, and he's been rewarded for it. He put him on power play 1. He put him out there in the shootout, and he felt that putting Luke out there for a lot of the overtime was the right move. But Nemo was out there in overtime as well. He had a chance where he was robbed. Just says WWF, I think, was when it took off because I believe you had DX and those guys in their prime. I mean, that would be called the Attitude Era. The Rock, Stone Cold, DX, Mankind. I mean, probably one of the pinnacle eras of wrestling. I only liked it for a brief time when I was younger and in that time span, but it really was fun. Ben Jamin says, yep, I remember the bridge. Oh, man, that bridge, the cattle run, wild stuff. And freezing my cojones off in January at Meadowlands, drinking beer no less, Meadowlands pregame for the win. What a time. What a time to be alive. Woodson, do you watch the games, bro? You're out here talking all kinds of smack. Are you even watching the games? I don't know if I would call it a demotion per se, but Nemec was on power play 1. Daniel, Philly fans are thugs. I remember the group-on-group brawls in the parking lot after the games at Renenburn Arena. Take care, traveling. Tasha, your dream came true. Luke was not on power play 1 for good reason. Woodson says, I've never been happier. Sherry, Section 8, 7th row behind the bench. We better win. Alex, at one point, when we were 2-0, there was a substantially loud Let's Go Devils chant in my section area. Very nice. Woodson says, Keith for president, 2028. Roman, Luke is still buns around the net as a defender. He has no fire. That Ovechkin goal was easy. Yeah, he did kind of get big boy bodied by Ovechkin, and it wasn't even like that vicious of one. Ovechkin just kind of used his hips and his ass to kind of get position on him. David, the Luke pylon is out of control. Guy had a goal and an assist and led Devils in ice time playing on his offhand side. I'm a Luke guy too, but when silly stuff happens, I won't deny it, but I will always just keep going back to the same thing that none of these people want to hear, and that the kid is 22 years old, playing a ton of minutes as an NHL defenseman on his offside. I mean, you cannot discredit these things. You cannot. Honky Lips, yeah, the Brendan Continental were much closer games for me. Still tailgate for concerts at MetLife. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a concert at MetLife. Is that possible? I've been to football games there. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've seen a concert there. Which is kind of wild because I've been to a million concerts, but not there. John Fay, nothing will ever beat the Attitude Era, the craziest and best era of WWE, for sure. For sure. Woodson said, I couldn't see the game because blackout restrictions for the second straight game. Well, you got to figure out a way, my man. David Chimes, shooting off firearms in the parking lot with the Jersey Nets before Devils games. Those were the days. Harness racing after afternoon games. I was never a track guy, but firing firearms in the parking lot, it's interesting. John NJ Devils Meadowlands was the best lighting fires and barrels to keep warm during tailgating. Presify, I'm actually named after Triple H's just first name, obviously. Parents used to love WWF in late 90s. Are you talking about his character name or his real name? Are we talking about Hunter or are we talking about Paul? John Fay, can I say this is the first time we were 2-0 in the shootout, or am I dreaming? They had to have been at one point. During the Covey-Parisi era, there was one year where we were just like ridiculously dominant on the shootout. In the shootout, it was like we could not lose. Just a ridiculous shootout lineup. Why do I pay for ESPN Plus? I don't know. Blackouts for a third of the Devils games. It's pretty brutal. Bobby, I was at the game tonight. Devils fans disappointed me tonight at the lack of energy. Are you surprised, though, in a road game? David, good night, Ace. Have to wake up early tomorrow around 11 a.m. That's early? Shit. Good night, David. 11 a.m. Yeah, you're talking about 11 hours. Phew. I don't even want to tell you what time I'm going to go to bed and what time I'm going to wake up. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Tasha, I was at the SZA Kendrick Lamar concert at MetLife earlier this year. Knowles, MetLife has to be the best arena for concerts next to PNC Bank Art Center in the Wellmont. I've been to shows at both of those. I love PNC Bank Art Center. I've been to a million. Great tailgate, great outdoor amphitheater. Love everything about PNC Bank Art Center. One of my favorite venues for sure. Justin Smith, Luke Hughes' first career goals against the Capitals. Nice to see Luke Hughes score against Washington again. Yeah, the last game of the season of that 22-23 season, the overtime thriller. Luke Hughes getting his first career goal. What a time. What a season. What a season. I tried watching on a free side, but the quality was so bad I could barely see the players. Knowles, have seen Metallica there countless times in System of a Down, and Korn was just there. Awesome venue for a concert. You must go. There's someone that I really want to see that goes there, but it just hasn't happened yet. And for me to go to a concert, and especially with what concerts cost these days, I have to really like them. There's not too many bands I would want to see. if I'm being honest. Character Hunter, okay. Tasha says, Woodson just listened to the radio with Chico. Last resort, it's serviceable. Gotham Sports app, not any better. Woodson, it was like old times. I was broke and I had to listen to Devils games on the radio. David, don't give an inch. People putting things untrue on Luke. Every defensive stat well in his corner of the season. Not making more mistakes than average defenseman. Jason says, I get past the blackouts using VPN. Tasha, SST, you can't even use the Gotham Sports app. 11 a.m. is not early. Yeah, I'm like, damn, 11 a.m. Evan, Giants host Cheeseheads tomorrow. Would be great win for Northern NJ if Jameis Winston balls out after this beauty of a win tonight for our boys in D.C. We'll see. The Giants are so cooked. I mean, what are you going to do? It's been a rough go for them for quite some time. Nick, much respect to Caps commentators. They gave us credit all night long talking us up. Another crazy stat. Scott Stevens had 4 elbowing calls his entire career. Crazy stat. The call-ins are coming soon. I'm working on a lot of stuff. Woodson Caps announcers are one of the few that aren't total homers. Tasha says Metallica. Lucky. Bobby, at David, listen, I love Luke, but his turnovers are getting very costly with us. The team being this decimated can't afford his costly mistakes. Richard, tailgating at Continental is beyond awesome. These guys would light tennis balls with lighter fluid and smack them around with hockey sticks. Julio, Ace, off topic. Were you a regular contributor on the old back in the day Tom Gliddy Fire and Ice comment section? So I was not. I was an avid reader, and I would read the comments. I may have posted a few times, but I certainly was not an avid poster. I was more of a lurker, I believe they would call it. But always read Gliddy Fire and Ice. I think he is probably one of the better reporters that have been around the Devils, historically speaking. And I would definitely read it all the time. But I definitely didn't comment a ton. Maybe here and there, but definitely not regularly. Tasha said, do we think I should go see the Foo Fighters in Philly or Washington? I'm not really a Philly fan, so I would probably say Washington, but I don't know enough to really give an informed opinion, I guess. Tasha said, I have ESPN Plus, and it definitely blacks out the Devils games. Knowles, yeah, I'm one exit away from PNC. It's like a second home. Last few summers sucked, though. Haven't any big metal acts besides Pantera recently. Missed the days of Knotfest Roadshow where Slipknot basically booked shows up all summer with all upcoming bands. That's pretty cool. I'm much further than you from PNC, but it's still not that far in the grand scheme of going to a concert. Love PNC. Great tailgate scene there, too. Richard says 11 a.m., asleep by 1 a.m. and up at 5:30. That's going to be close to my schedule tonight too, Richard. Oh, shit, it's already 12:02. I got to wrap this thing up soon. But my sleep schedule for tonight is going to be similar to that. John, NJ Devils, you listen to the Tri-State podcast yet? Ace, no. So I'm so behind in my consumption of stuff. I did see it. I do want to watch the first episode. I saw it. It's Arthur. It's Arthur Rupper and that guy Johnny, whatever his name is, right? I've been meaning to check it out. It's a Devils, Rangers, Islanders. It's a good concept. Is it any good, John? It popped up the other day, and I meant to watch it, and then I fell asleep watching something else. Woodson says, Washington, go experience the Metro. Justin, I live in New York, so ESPN Plus doesn't black out Devils games. Honky Lips, I've been to concerts in Philly, and it was great. Since there, for the same reason, there's no fans. Richard, Ace, do you remember Mike? Can't even pronounce that name of the Bergen Record. He was great, and the Devils were truly an afterthought in the metro area. No, I was never a Bergen Record guy. I was a Rich Share Star Ledger guy. David says, Bobby, I'm a bit of a fanatic. I watch replays and learn to watch the game closer. Knowles, the Foo Fighters, they play at Lincoln Financial Field, do it. It's just like MetLife, just a little beat up. I did watch Breaking Bad. I definitely watched Breaking Bad. What a great show. Woodson, Caps fans have big energy. Goalhorn is solid. Arena is a dump, but otherwise a good experience. You are the same person. I will take this to the grave. Oh, it's so funny how you think that now, Tasha. So funny how you think that now. You were telling me that they weren't the same person. You told me I was crazy, and now you're so adamant that they are the same person. I'm not talking about Woodson, by the way. I'm talking about, I think, Suk and SST. Knowles, all my friends who used to tailgate got married and have kids, so I truly miss those days. PNC tailgating, love the job they did with the renovations of the bars and such. That's pretty funny. So this is good, great conversations, deep hockey talk, local talk. Nah, maybe I'll check it out as I'm falling asleep in a few minutes. Richard Ace, I have a few hockey pieces, but I almost got divorced when I spent a fortune at an auction for an Arturo Gotti signed robe. It is under glass, which I will not let Jack Hughes or anyone else near. Do you remember? I love Arturo Gotti. My favorite non-hockey player athlete of all time is easily Arturo Thunder Gotti. I was fortunate enough to be at his last 9 or 10 fights, which were all at Atlantic City Boardwalk Hall. The Blood and Guts Warrior. Wow. I have a couple really nice Gotti pieces that I got signed myself when I met him. David says, Luke needs to score at home, missing the Star Wars music. That is true. Robert, do they still play any hockey at the Meadowlands? No, they do not. Woodson says, I've had enough positivity for one night. I'm out. Take care. No, Arturo Thunder Gotti, Knowles, not John Gotti. Arturo Gotti, which was spelled G-A-T-T-I. The Blood and Guts Warrior. Look him up on the YouTubes. George says, thumbs up for the Devils and Ace. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up. Don't be stingy now. Don't be stingy now. Honky Limps, is it true the Rock won't allow cutlery for the rest of the year? Apparently the team is traumatized. Ace, I was wrong. What was I wrong about? Tasha said, I've always said SST was Suk. It was y'all are soft. Okay. And then I reverted. Wait, so you think all of them are him? I can't keep track anymore. Yeah, it really is. John, did you hear that his son died in a similar freak thing a few weeks ago or a month ago? Did you hear about the kid? Completely insane. Richard says, Ace, if you ever trek up GSP exit 168, you got to hit Originals in Westwood. I've heard about that place a lot as well, too. It's the family that used to own Callahan's Hot Dogs, I believe. I'm definitely going to check that place out. I just don't make it to Bergen County a lot. So for stuff like that, that's kind of far. I typically like to try to do stuff like that when I'm already, like when I have something else already going on in the area, if that makes sense. Bum, 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 bum. Anyone have anything else here? Closing time. Oh, wow. A lot of chats just came up. Bobby says, having Jack out is costly, but I think once we have Brownie back and Dougie, we can weather the storm. I think so, too, but everyone's got to pull their weight until then. Richard, Gotti, yes. I did hear about his kid. I just love Gotti. It was that fight one versus Mick, and I actually cried. It was such a great fight. Oh, you're at the one at what was that, Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun, was it? The first one was in Connecticut. A Bada Bing style hockey jersey just popped up on my Instagram feed. I need it. I think I've seen it before. Honky Lips, thanks for the videos, Ace. Great job. Good night, Devils Nation. Thank you. Hextall. Of course I remember that, Benjamin. The Hextall chants were phenomenal. Phenomenal at the old barn. Man, the Hextall chants will live on forever. That's when Devils Rangers games were just something truly special. Bloodbaths. Nothing like the good old days, folks. All right, that's it. It's over. I'm done. I got shit to do. Our beloved New Jersey Devils. Beautiful victory in D.C. tonight, beating the Capitals by a score of 3-2 in a shootout. And who other than Nemec, our boy Nemo, the hero once again. And all is well in Devils land. We wait for Jack Hughes to get healthy and some of our other fallen soldiers to come back to the lineup. But this team just continues to find a way to win, despite all the injuries and despite the doomers and everybody counting the team out. They find ways to win and bank these points. And for those that have been talking smack, deposit those apologies in the comments, because the samurai sword has been in the shop getting sharpened. And one day when I'm bored, and I've been very busy lately, so you're lucky. I've been very busy, and it's been keeping me away from wielding said samurai. But one day when I'm bored and I have some free time, I'm going to let that baby fly, and heads are going to just come clean off, and you're going to see them rolling down the backsides of some of these folks who have talked out of line about this New Jersey Devils club. But that's it, guys. We are just on a roll. 5 games in overtime or the shootout consecutively. Hopefully we could win one in regulation soon, and this team's going to take us on a ride. Stan Fischler. Interview with Stan Fischler premieres tomorrow, 6 p.m. on the channel. Check it out. I will be in the chat. Hope to see some of you there. Stan is the man. Just absolute legendary figure. If you're not familiar with who he is, familiarize yourself. Do a little Google research. The internet is your friend. Check it out. Look him up on YouTube. You could see his, there's NHL did a really good, I don't know what you want to call it. It wasn't a long video, but it was some kind of like a biographical, I guess, video of some kind on Stan, which was really good. But you'll see tons of stuff if you look him up on YouTube. Stan Fischler, just an amazing dude. It was great to talk to him. I will have him back on again in the future because there's just so many things to talk to him about in limited time. And so there's millions of things I didn't even get to ask him. But that is a pretty fun one for me. That one airs tomorrow at 6 p.m. And as always, there's always stuff in the works. I'm always cooking up things and we're working on things. But I'll be back soon. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. And I think that's all I got. I'm shot. What a beautiful evening to be a Devils fan. And I will see you all so soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.